Hey there, Pop Girlies!
Hello.
How's it going?
Is anybody else feeling older than the last
I
time we
am.
recorded?
I'm feeling older. Jury's out on wiser.
Mmm.
So,
I'm particularly feeling wiser. I don't know about
oh,
y'all.
well, that's lovely. And I envy you.
Are you older too? Oh yeah, you're older too.
I am.
You
I am.
you
But
are.
you're here
I
with
am.
us, so are you.
But you're here with us, so are you.
Correct.
Well, I'm excited to be talking about Miss Lizzy today.
Yes.
I'm feeling
Queen
very
McAlpine.
excited.
This is my first time listening to her intentionally. Um, there
Why did you say it like?
because it's the truth. I mean, like, there's the one song of hers that I had heard a ton when I was on TikTok. But yeah, like hadn't ever intentionally listened to any of her other music except for when Drew picked Movie Star for one of his hot tracks.
OT.
Yeah.
I forgot
So
about that.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I
That was
mean,
an
I'm
early hot
very new.
track. That was a really, really early hot track.
Early one, yeah.
Yeah, I remember our own lore, herstory. So yeah.
Well,
Whoa.
speaking of that, this is a great segue, I think, into this week's Hot Tracks.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Who's gonna go first?
Who's going first?
I don't really want to go first.
Levi, you go first. I think I nominated myself to go first last week.
Yeah, you did. You did.
So
Well, I will go then. Um,
Thank God.
to nobody's surprise, I've been listening. Well, first of all, I just want to give a shout out. I know I mentioned it last week as well, but the Samia album is amazing. Like, I've just been listening to that nonstop, but I chose a song that's not on the Samia album because I've already done one of those. Except I've already done a song from this album that I'm about to do, but I don't care. Uh, I'm doing Jump by Madonna.
Get
yes.
ready to jump.
I have been listening to so much Confessions over the weekend. That's like all that I was listening to. And I shared this with Maria. Drew, I can send this to you too if you want. But so the version on streaming is like, a normal album. The songs all end and then the next one begins. But when the album originally came out, like on CD, it was created like a DJ set. So all the songs bled into each other and like transitioned. And it's like
Oh.
one continuous thing. But they couldn't do that on streaming because of like royalties, because it would all like be one song. But I have the like file, like the MP3 file on my phone of it, and I've been listening to it working out. It is a Drew, I can send it to you if you're interested. It is like the transitions are next level, and specifically the transition from Forbidden Love into Jump is so good. It like is
Dang.
gagging me. And then just I don't know, I just love the song Jump. I love songs that like feel like a dare. Like I love a song where like the
It's a
singer's
call
like
to
daring.
action.
It's a call to action. I mean, it makes me kind of have a similar feeling to the feeling that I have when I listen to What You Waiting For by Gwen Stefani, which is like one of my favorite songs of all time. I just love Jump. I love the production. I love the way she sounds. I love the melody. I think the lyrics are super introspective. So yeah, love Jump.
I
Are
would love
you
to know.
ready to jump?
I would love to know like more of the legalities of like why it can't be on streaming because like I know Daft Punk has like one of their like DJ sets from the 90s on Spotify as a single song and it's like 45 minutes long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like why can't the Queen Honey do the same thing?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was like maybe like one of the people who is credited on the album like had
Yeah.
a issue. And I also wonder if maybe it's something to do with the ABBA sample because ABBA's like historically very stingy with samples. Like they don't really allow samples, and this was like a major deal that they allowed Madonna to do the sample. So I wonder if it's like maybe something to do with that. I don't know. That's just the thing I read because apparently it was on Spotify for a while, but then it got taken off. But it
Oh,
was super easy to find. Like, if any listeners are out there, well, first of all, if you have my phone number and you're interested, I can just text it to you. But if you don't have my number, we're not there yet, but you can Google, just like look up. like Confessions on a Dance Floor, fucking, I don't know, Continuous. I don't know what I looked
DM
up.
us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See if
just
you can
DM
find it.
us. Yeah.
It was not difficult at all to find.
Well, there you have it.
So I'm ready to jump, and
Get
everybody better be
ready.
jumping. Okay, I pick Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Drew.
Okay, I was having a hard time choosing because I've just been listening to like a lot of different things. But the one I'm gonna go with, I haven't done a song from this before. But I've been really into the Smash soundtrack
Oh,
like the
yes.
past like week because the for all of you who are not like Broadway fanatics, the Tony nominations came out the last week. So I've been like really just feeling the vibe. I like watched a couple episodes of it yesterday. So
What
I'm gonna
season?
choose well two
Okay, well, duh.
because it's the Tony
Yeah,
season.
yeah. Oh, the Tony episodes. I love the scene where the nominations get read.
And then they forget
They forget
Ivy.
Ivy. Yeah.
Also, sorry if we're spoiling, but like you've had time.
Yeah, you've had years. You're the reason why it was canceled, so fuck y'all.
Yeah. But the song I'm gonna choose is Don't Let Me Know, which is like my
I knew you were
favorite
gonna say
song.
that. That is your fave, isn't it? Like
I It has to be my fave.
you love that song.
And I love how it's performed on the show.
It's
Y'all will
so
gag
good.
if you get into it.
My God. I love that song.
It's so
I don't
good.
know what my favorite hit list song is.
It's so hard.
It's
The
so
hit list
hard
songs are top
because I
tier.
love Broadway Here I Come, but I also love the goodbyes, like the goodbye songs up there for me. Don't Let Me Know is up
Heart-shaped
there for me as well.
wreckage.
You're more of a heart-shaped wreckage person than I am. Do you
Oh,
want a song I love though?
read
I don't give a fuck if it's
Maria
corny.
loves one of them.
I love original.
Oh yeah, you do love original. Maria loves Caught in the Storm.
Oh, I love Caught in a Storm. That's another one of my faves.
That's a good one.
When you love someone, you find a way to stay. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah,
You did the hit in
it's
the list, and it's just good.
I think it's on Peacock now. I don't
Peacock,
know.
yeah, yeah, it's on Peacock.
But if you're like someone even interested in Broadway stuff, but you love drama, great show to watch. And you like and if you can stomach musicals, then it's
And if you want to
perfect.
watch Angelica Houston serve every single
Hmm.
episode and throw drinks in ugly men's faces, please watch.
Right.
Love that.
Okay, Maria, what you
Okay,
got?
Maria, it's
Sizzling
your
in your hot
turn.
track time.
Yar. Well, I actually have been listening to music so much over the last week, which I was kind of in a major music listening slump and was just kind of like listening to podcasts and not really doing music for a bit. But I've been listening to a lot of music lately, and so far I've been kind of crafting one of my like summer playlists because I feel like I'm gonna be going on like multiple different vibes this summer. But so far, I've made my like pop girl, like energetic, like fun, like summery pop music playlist so far. But the main song that was the driver of me making the playlist was Someone to Call My Lover by Janet Jackson. So
Whoa.
that's my hot
Wow.
track. I'm so obsessed with that song lately, and it's got the Ventura Highway like sample in it. So it just has like this kind of like
You have been obsessed with that song
I've been so also
because you
like
keep sending the concept of meeting somebody in a bar and them driving a
and
funky
him driving
car.
a funky car. I also love like, oh, you've been so obsessed, and I sent one text about it.
Well, but we talked about it too. Don't discredit that.
Oh, yes, well, we did have an in-person convo about it,
We
so
had an in-person
I'm
convo about
obsessed.
it. In a world
Diagnosis.
obsessed with Janet
Obsessed
Jackson.
with Janet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's my hot track, but it's got like this summery, like beachy kind of vibe with like the sample in it, and it's just like so good. I'm so obsessed with it. So that's my hot track.
Summer Boy by Gaga says hi.
Look,
Okay.
okay.
The way that
Okay.
that wasn't like the centerpiece of your summer playlist is just like crazy.
Well, I'm going off of the sound, not
Oh,
just the
okay,
word
okay.
summer.
Oh,
As if
okay.
as if I didn't literally touch Tune's Summer Boy in a bar 2 days ago. Shut your mouth.
Oh my God, that's like
Like
crazy.
every single day, Drew tries to try me as like an illegitimate little monster.
Well, yeah, because how much merch
I
have you bought?
Ugh.
oh
Flashback to me 1 hour ago having worn my Mayhem merch out and about on the street. So clock it. And I got a compliment on it.
Gag it.
Gag it. Like, okay, that's all I have to say. Also, this is satire. This is satire. I'd like to emphasize this is satire.
you didn't say JK though.
That was me saying JK.
I didn't have to say JK. It was a joke.
Okay,
So,
are we ready to get
Are,
older?
are
blue.
we ready? I don't
I
know.
fucking guess.
I'm ready to get wiser. I can tell you that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that?
I
My,
Uh-huh.
don't know. Trying to get energy here.
oh yeah,
Okay,
because this is a real turned up album. This is an
oh, it's
album that we
turn
need.
as hell.
I,
Go get your friends and meet me on the floor. It's time to get older and wiser.
yeah, we're gonna pop bottles to fucking none of these songs. That's just not happening.
Get lit, get turned, get older, get wiser. All right, let's go.
LOL. Okay. So Older is the third studio album by Lizzy McAlpine.
The segue.
Y'all laugh at what? What was so funny?
No, I'm just like it was such a stark difference.
Right, right.
All right, so this is the third studio album.
Well,
Please
yeah, because you
continue.
can
Uh,
tell when Drew's done with the bit. Because Drew was like, Maria and I were still being goofy and silly, and Drew's like, no, we're done with that.
This is the third
right,
studio
right.
album.
This is the third studio album by Lizzy McAlpine. And it was the first with her as like an artist signed to a record label. So she signed to RCA, Slay. Um, it follows the breakthrough album 5 Seconds Flat, which was her second album. It got popular from the single Ceilings that went viral on TikTok. Um, if y'all don't know Ceilings, y'all know Ceilings. Um, it was released on April 5th, 2024, and the deluxe version, Older and Wiser, was released on October 4th, 2025. It has an 85 on Metacritic, which is pretty good. However, it was only reviewed by like six major outlets, so do with that what you will. No Pitchfork score. The standard version is 14 songs, 43 minutes, which I feel like is kind of like 14 songs feels very long, but 43 minutes does not feel that long to me. So there's a lot of like interlude-esque songs, and a lot of short songs that make it feel a little shorter to me. And the deluxe version is 19 tracks and 65 minutes. Yeah. So the main things I kind of wanted to talk about, I think most of the episode will be like discussion on what you all thought about it because it is fairly like newer and there's not a lot of lore associated with it. But something that I thought was really cool, which I got from the Therapist episode that she did with Jake Shane, was she basically, so after 5 Seconds Flat and after touring it, she was kind of, anticipating what was coming next after the smash of Ceilings. She smashed the ceilings.
Gag it.
But anyways, that was rotten. So after that, she was kind of like nervous about how to follow it up, whatever. But she talked a lot about how the sound of 5 Seconds Flat, she felt like she was kind of like imitating other like pop sounds that were popular at the time and trying to like almost like go with the trend. And she didn't really feel like it was very authentic to her. I kind of definitely feel that from like listening to it. Especially now after hearing this album, it definitely 5 Seconds Flat definitely leans into the more pop landscape of it all, and like you can definitely see like her kind of imitating different pop stars. Um, it would be kind of interesting to talk about that album like sometime in the future. Um, but yeah, so she wanted to do something that was more authentic to her. And she actually like wrote and recorded this album like multiple times with different producers um until she finally just like scrapped the the version that it previously was after she went to a Ryan Beatty concert and met his band, which is primarily who she collaborated with on this album. Specifically, Mason Stoops and Ryan Lerman, who are the main producers on it. So she basically she talked about like how nothing was really seeming like what she wanted, and she wanted it to be more stripped back and not super like electronic or super production heavy. Um so yeah, so they actually recorded the version in a very short period of time with the songs that she had written previously and not ended up moving forward with. So I thought that was kind of cool. And it also is really cool because the band that she recorded it with all went out on tour with her, which she famously talks a lot about how much she does not like touring. She just doesn't like the traveling to and fro. Um, but the tour that she did for this album was actually really interesting. Um, so I went to the Lala version of it, but she toured like all last summer, and the production of the show was not like, it was kind of interesting because they set the set up as like a recording studio almost. And it was literally just her with headphones on and her band just playing the songs and her singing into like a studio microphone, which I thought was really cool. Like there wasn't a lot of talking to the crowd. It was literally just her and the band just kind of like playing the songs. Like she was sitting for a lot of it. It was really interesting, and it was something that I didn't know if I would be really into because I like someone who performs, but this felt like it almost felt like a Broadway show in a way because it was set like to mimic like a specific place. Like you could tell that there was a lot of thought put into like the production design of the show. So I thought it was really, really cool. And it was something that I'd never seen before. And she was really able to show off her voice, which is something that I think is like her best asset. She just has like one of the most like solid, like angelic voices that I've ever heard. So yeah. So the album explores kind of, she talks a lot about this in the interview as well, a relationship that she had for 1 month that she had written her first three albums about. Um, and
This
they
is
were
about a
like,
1 month relationship.
yeah, so the guy that she dated, they dated for a month and then like just kept talking to each other. Um, and so yeah, she talks a lot about how like this was the end, like she was not writing about this person ever again after this. But yeah, a lot of the songs, I think I read I don't know what this is like formally called, but in Apple Music when you can go in and read like when they leave specific like paragraphs about each song.
Oh
Like
yeah, like when they talk.
annotations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they talk about
Um,
it.
but she talked about the song Older, how it initially was just all about the relationship. And then she kind of brought in, like, there's in the second verse, I believe, she talks about like her mother and like that sort of thing and like growing older in life, as well as like the relationship, feeling like she's wasting time. And so the album was initially supposed to be called Vortex, which is the last song on the standard version. And then she switched it because when she rewrote Older, she felt like that encapsulated the entirety of like what the album was about and like how she wanted to use the album to like progress forward. Um, so yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about. Um, I don't know if there's anything that like I left out or anything, but I think that's all I kind of wanted to discuss before you all shared your thoughts. So, yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Woo.
Okay.
Okay. I'll have Maria go first.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Drew. Yeah, as I said before, this is really my first time listening to her. Of course, I'd heard Ceilings before. But yeah, I just like really never went out of my way to listen to her music. I'm not really sure why. Like I know Drew, like you've really liked her, and also knowing like her overlap with the musical theater world is really interesting because I feel like the kind of stuff that she gets involved in is the kind of like more folk kind of singer-songwritery theater that I would, like be like more like I would be gravitated towards, like in a
Yeah.
Hadestown kind of way.
Well, I was gonna say, like literally the one thing that I left out talking about the album is that it's like very notably like not a pop
Yeah,
sort of thing. Like it's a
totally.
folk album,
Yeah.
as indifferent to her last two, which were very pop.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So my biggest takeaway from the album itself is just how mesmerizing her voice is. Like she just has such incredible vocals, so it was so like entrancing to listen to this entire thing. And Drew, I don't know if you mentioned it that we also like talked like we listened to all the deluxe tracks and we'll be including that in our ranking.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you can include it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think the deluxe version is like a little bit over an hour. But it didn't necessarily feel all that long, kind of like you said, because there's interlude tracks and all of that. But at first I didn't realize that because I listened, I was like, whoa, wait, we're already on the second track. Then it's like, oh, I didn't realize this was like an interlude situation. So I thought that that made the album flow really nicely. But yeah, biggest takeaway is just how incredible her voice is. I really wasn't expecting the album to feel as sparse as it does. Not that that's like a major like downfall of the album in any way. I feel like there's like the points of the album for me that work the best is when the sound feels a little bit fuller. So, I wouldn't expect like this full lush production on like interlude tracks, but I feel like there are some songs throughout the album where it does feel a little bit empty, but I also understand that that's like kind of the purpose. But that was something for me where I was like, there's just not enough going on sometimes for me to like fully latch on. Um, my favorite parts of the album is where some of the songs like feel kind of sinister. I feel like she has this like really natural way of having like minor chords just kind of like interspersed throughout a song to like make it feel like really dark and heavy without it being like, like really intense. So those were the moments like where it really shined for me. Like I think Movie Star is a really cool example of that because they'll just be like a minor chord as she slightly changes some of the lyrics that she said before, just to kind of make what she's saying sting a little bit more as you listen to it, which I thought was really interesting and makes, everything have a little bit more depth. So I thought that was super cool. As far as the lyrics, I thought what she was saying was really interesting. I kind of was picking up throughout of specific themes of, like not meeting someone's expectations or having changed in someone, maybe loving you more than you love them or, all that sort of stuff. So I thought those kind of like the lyrical themes that she was picking up on of like certain insecurities I thought was really interesting. I'll also say like when I listened to this, I wasn't doing a whole lot of comparison with the lyrics, but when I was listening to March, I was like, I have a feeling I need to look up the lyrics to this, and I started bawling. Like I was actually
Yeah.
sobbing. So that one was really
Yeah.
intense for
Here, I'll
me.
explain it too. So March
Yeah.
is the 13th song. And she, after her second album, I believe, so her dad unfortunately died in 2020 on March 13th. So the 13th song is March, and she um has publicly talked about how on all of her albums she's going to dedicate the 13th song to her dad because she has another song called Chemtrails on her last album that is about her dad.
Chemtrails
So
is
it's really
so
sweet.
good.
Oh, for the tour, she mashed up both of them
Oh,
too, which is so
Jesus.
good.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Ugh.
yeah. Her voice in Chemtrails is like insane. Like it's her doing that because she's done this song live before as a cover. But Chemtrails to me sounds exactly like the song that Jessie sings in Toy Story 2.
Oh
Oh,
God.
oh,
Yeah, it kind of
Oh,
does. You're right. It does have that vibe. It has like the Sarah
yeah,
McLachlan vibe.
yeah,
mm, oh my goodness.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that one was like that one really just hit me. It was so beautiful. Um, but yeah, I thought this entire thing is was just like such a beautiful piece of music. So I'm really glad that we got to kind of listen to it together and we're talking about it. But yeah, I feel like it also kind of gave me a similar vibe to like the most mellow Sufjan Stevens songs. So I feel like he's known for his songs that feel like a little bit more full, but I feel like he also has some songs that have the same sort of like sparse feeling to it. And it was interesting because I feel like it's a little bit ironic because there's the song Spring into Summer, but as I was listening to this, I kind of got the vibe of this song going from like winter well, actually, no, into like from maybe like summer into kind of like fall into winter, because I feel like as you go, like it feels kind of a little bit more acoustic guitar, like it feels a little bit more bright and sunny. And then as you go along, it kind of has those like really soft like staccato piano notes that feel kind of like snow to me. Like it's kind of has like some sort of like wintry quality of like snow is falling. And sometimes that's how I equate like that kind of soft piano sound to just like falling snow. So I kind of felt like a seasonal shift as the album was going along.
T.
That's that's my read into it. But yeah.
I also, it's weird because that song, I know Maria's not on TikTok anymore, but I don't know if Levi, if you've seen the trend that people are using for that song,
Mm-mm.
but everyone's like using the audio when she says bridge over water, I am jumping off as like a joke for
Oh, like a
like
meme.
posting how they want to die.
Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh,
Yeah, about like, oh, this is so annoying. Like, but
yeah.
yeah, but it has like a lot of people are using that as a sound, which is like crazy. But
That's always crazy when some sort of snippet of a song that's like has such intense, like gut-wrenching meaning gets just like memed online. Like my other example of that is like the cellophane, like, didn't I do it for you? Getting memed because like someone doing the
the
Miss
Miss
Piggy voice.
Piggy, the Miss Piggy. Didn't I do it for you, Kermit?
For me. Like it's just crazy. Like it's we can poke fun or this and that, but it's sometimes interesting because oftentimes artists like don't comment on if something that they do like gets twisted or even just is like coined to be a meme transactionally without anyone like really knowing what it's about or its deeper meaning. But that's just so funny that people are taking one of her songs and making it a joke. But you never know sometimes what people run with.
yeah.
But I feel like that's like really everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I this is an album that I would love to like spend time with in the outdoors, like maybe sit by the lake, sit by a body of water and just like enjoy this album too, you know? So I would absolutely love that. But I'm really glad that you picked it because yeah, I haven't really
Mm.
listened to like any of her music before, so I'm glad that we got to talk about it.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Levi,
Okay, is it my turn?
it's your turn.
Let's see if I'm. What the? What the? Okay. Sorry. I was having issues with my chair. Um, let's see if I'm older and wiser. So yeah, Lizzy. I've been familiar with Lizzy for a few years. I like knew a lot of people who were into her kind of before she blew up, before 5 Seconds Flat. So what's the album before that called?
Give me a minute.
Right. And that's like her on like the park. She's like in grass,
Yeah.
right? On the album
Yep.
cover. Yeah. Um, and I mean, I've always thought that her voice is beautiful. She has just an absolutely gorgeous voice. Right before we started recording, we were chatting a little bit, and I made the comparison, and Drew and I have talked about this before, but I truly think that so much of her voice reminds me of Sarah Bareilles. That is such a compliment because I think Sarah Bareilles has like one of the great voices in modern music. And there's just something about like her tone and the way that she sings, the way that she, chews on certain words and just like her placement. I mean, everything. And I think she just has such a luscious, warm, emotional voice, and it's just really beautiful to listen to. I've never really been taken by like a full project of hers. I think there's always been songs that like I've gravitated towards, but I don't know what it is. There's maybe just always been a little bit of a disconnect for me with like the songwriting, or what. I don't know what it is. There's just always been a little bit of wall up, but I think she's very cool. I like her a lot. I really enjoyed her on Therapist because I watched a bit of that episode. I loved the video that she posted about her casting process for her Broadway debut, which she's currently making right now in the revival of Floyd Collins, which Drew saw. And he said that she was very good.
Yes, she was very good.
Um, I loved that video. I thought that video was so cool that she documented that and that she like shared it. I just thought it was really, really charming. Yeah, and so I listened to Older a bit when it came out, and then when the deluxe version came out, Drew like sent me a few songs. So I had listened to Pushing Down and Praying before, and I had listened to Spring into Summer before. And then like a few of the like the Elevator I listened to, Movie Star I listened to. I don't know if I an older I'd listened to because I think that was the first single. I think Vortex I had listened to. So like here or there, but I hadn't listened to it as a full body of work. And so I resonate with a lot of what Maria said. I think that compared to her earlier work, I think her earlier work has like a more cinematic feel to the songs. This is a lot simpler. It's a lot sparser. Sparser is a really, really good word for it. It the description that I came up with in my head is down to earth. Like there's this earthiness to the production because there aren't really any like bells or whistles or lots of layers. Like the production isn't very complex. It's pretty similar track to track, and there's like occasional moments where a fuller band comes in, but even that like doesn't seem as full or as heavy as it maybe would in a different album. The tempo is pretty slow throughout, so it just has this, very simple, sincere quality to it. I would agree with Maria that I think my favorite moments on this album are when there's just a bit more depth going on. I do think that there are quite a few songs for me where it doesn't feel like enough is happening. I think that I struggled a bit with the pacing of this album. I thought it was interesting that Maria said that she felt like it was very short, like it flew by, because I struggled with it. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to it twice, and both times I was like, "Huh, this is just get. It's just a little. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's like a combination of the tempo being pretty slow, the production being pretty similar track to track, and lyrically, I think that there are some really beautiful moments lyrically on this album, but overall, like I'm just not really drawn into the way that she's like choosing to phrase what she's saying. I don't know if it's always the most interesting or like evocative phrases. I think it tends to be pretty straightforward, and so when that is paired with mid to slow tempo music and kind of simple arrangements, there's just moments where I'm struggling a bit. But I will say my favorite moments on this album actually are all on the Wiser section. I think that those songs feel so fleshed out. Those songs feel a lot more dynamic. I feel like lyrically they're just more interesting to me. I think the imagery that she's choosing to play with and the metaphors just feel a bit more complex. I think that there's like more tempo changes in those tracks, which I really appreciate. Yeah, and just for some reason, those are the songs that really stood out to me. And I don't know if that's just because, well, I don't know. Did she like make these after the album came out, or were these like taken from
Yeah.
the original? She'd made these after the album came
Yeah.
out. yeah, so I don't know if it's just like more time to work in them or, getting literally older and wiser and, I don't know what it is, but I thought those were the best. And I wish that maybe a bit of those songs, which I feel like were maybe a bit more produced and a bit more packed lyrically, would have found its way into the rest of the album. But I do think that like the highlight of this is her vocal performance. I mean, she just has such a lovely voice, and I think it is pretty versatile, and I think it fits the poppier stuff of her earlier works. But she sounds really, really great doing these, low key folk songs. And there's like she has like double like tracks on her voice quite a bit. It kind of reminded me of moments of like Elliott Smith, where like there's like two of her singing, and it's the same melody, like it's not a harmony. And Phoebe Bridgers does it a lot as well, which is like a tribute to Elliott Smith. But I noticed that, and I thought that was cool. That's always like one of my favorite things that when artists do that. So yeah, I mean, I was happy that I would listen to this. I don't know if this is going to be a body of work that I revisit often. I think it might be similar to previous Lizzy albums, of like there being a few songs that I, gravitate towards. But I will say the songs that I gravitated towards, I had a larger and deeper response to than any of the other songs on previous albums. Like I think her best work, in my opinion, from what I've seen, and obviously like I'm not the Lizzy expert, but I would say that like my favorite Lizzy songs are on this album. So yeah, it's kind of I think going to be exciting to see what she does next. I don't really have like a prediction for what the sound is going to be or anything like that, which I think is really really cool. I love artists like that. She feels like malleable in a way to me. Oh, and just one quick comparison. I read this online, but when I read this comparison, it really made me click. It really clicked it for me. This album reminds me a lot of Sling by Clairo. It reminds me so much of Sling. Sling is a bit like fuller, but melodically, like the melodies kind of swirl around, and lyrically, it reminded me a lot of Sling. Tempo wise, it reminded me a lot of Sling, and just kind of like a general shift into folkiness in this like warm, simple sound. It feels like Sling is a really good touch point for that. So yeah, that is my older, wiser thoughts.
Cool. Thank you. Um, yeah, so I first got into Lizzie uh during the Give Me a Minute kind of era in 2020. I remember Ben Platt posted about her, and it was during the pandemic, and I was like, "Oh, I should listen to her." Like I was just like wanting something to grab onto at that time, and I was really drawn to her voice. And I was kind of there for the 5 seconds flat kind of era, but I wasn't as drawn to it as much as the Give Me a Minute. I feel like the production of 5 seconds flat kind of shifted me away from it. I felt like it was a little bit like disjointed in sound. I was kind of looking for something more I don't know, it just felt like she was kind of throwing a lot at the wall and just seeing what would stick for that, which I feel like in retrospect, that is what she was doing. Um, so I was just not fully there for that. And then when that era was the one that like really like shifted her to like being more well known, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm not like as much of a Lizzie person as I thought. And then this album came out. Um, and it actually came out on the same day as Found Heaven by Conan Gray. And I was a huge Conan fan. Obviously, we have an episode with Conan. So I listened to that album first, and I was like not happy with the album. We've talked about it on the podcast before, how that album just like was not a favorite of ours, of Levi and I's. And so then I was like, well, maybe this Lizzie album will like cure me, because the Found Heaven, I was like, I cannot get through this. And then I was like, well, maybe this Lizzie album will help. And I listened to it for the first time, and I felt the same way that you both felt, how I well, no, how Levi felt. I felt like it was very, very slow. And I just couldn't grab onto anything. And so I was like, well, this sucks. Like two albums that I was like maybe looking for as like a breakthrough, and it just was not happening. And so I was like, well, fuck this. Fuck 2024. Nothing's gonna come out. And then like everyone decided to release things. And so I kind of took a long break from this album, Older. And then she played Lollapalooza and she did an after show. And I had not listened to any of the other album. And then I had not come back to it even. And I had a friend at work say that she was going to her after show. And I was like, oh, well, that might be interesting. Like, I know that, I've heard she's really great live and I like a lot of her early stuff. Maybe I'll just go. And I went and I loved the whole production of her show that I had mentioned in the kind of run through of the album. And I I don't know, I was really drawn to like how she performed it. And I think watching it being performed helped inform like the differences in production. And I don't know, I always think like if you have a great experience watching something live, you can always bring something more to like listening to the album again. But I found myself like really drawn to a lot of the other songs that I just like did not like in the first listen. Um yeah, so I that was something that I really loved, and I ended up like I've stuck with this album since that show and I've listened to it like all the time since then. So I was like really looking forward to because she had kind of hinted at a deluxe, and I really loved the deluxe tracks as well. She actually did Spring into Summer at the show that I saw, so I was really excited to hear the studio version of that. Um, yeah, I just think her voice is just like something else. I feel like that's kind of like the standout for all of her music, and I don't know, I just feel like this one for me, I feel like there's a lot of songs that like are just extremely emotional in ways that none of her other music was in the past. Like I think of the song Older, the title track, that I was not drawn to when I first listened to the album at all. But it actually that second verse, it reminds me a lot of the song Mother by Casey Musgraves. Like kind of like toned down. Like she's in a very lower register of her voice, but for some reason, the lower register of her voice just like sounds so gorgeous in the song like this that she has never used in like any of her other songs. Um, so yeah, and then I love like the short tracks like The Elevator and Movie Star, like so concise but like so effective as well. I just thought the whole journey that it took me on after seeing it live, I when I really was able to like come to it in a way to like really digest it more, I felt very taken by it. So yeah, and then I also saw her on Broadway, and seeing her voice in that way was also really great. Um, she just sounds so amazing on the Floyd Collins musical. The score of it is very folk driven, which fits her voice perfectly. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I'm interested to see like where you guys land with your top threes and me's. Um, but yeah,
Can I ask like a somewhat unrelated question?
yeah,
But something that I know we've talked about a couple times, and I feel like Drew, this is an experience that sometimes like you'll speak about having of like not really resonating with something when you listen to the studio version and then it like really like the experience of seeing the music performed live like really changes your relationship to it, makes you have a greater appreciation for it. Have you guys ever had an experience where seeing an artist or like, anyone's music live has made you like has diminished the effectiveness of it or like made you maybe not like an artist as much as you did before you saw them live?
definitely.
Do you want to speak to
There's
it?
two examples of that for
Yeah.
me. I don't know, Levi, has that happened to you?
I don't think so.
For
I don't
me,
know. I need to think about it, but
Yeah.
share, Drew.
yeah, for me, it was the first example of this was Selena Gomez.
Oh.
I loved the Revival album like so much, and I still think it's like so great. But seeing that tour was like, oh, like yikes. Um, she's just not like a live vocalist. That's just and she's I mean, I think she's very honest about it. Like I think that's something that she doesn't claim to be, but like watching like having such a and I mean that this was like what 2015 was that revival?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So like that was like the era. I mean, we were in high school, so like when you had a concert to go to, like you religiously listened to the music that you were going to the concert for, and then like you have such a build up in ways that I feel like I don't get as much now. Um, so that and it was like very disappointing. Um, but I've come around to her for sure. And then the other one that I had, unfortunately, was Lana Del Rey.
Mm,
Yeah. I went to the tour for Norman fucking Rockwell. I really liked that album. And I went to the tour and I was like, oh, like I nothing about, and it's also just like I didn't really know what I was getting into. Like I'd never been to a Lana concert before. But I really liked the album, so I was like, oh, I'll just go. And it was just like it was not the vibe. It was like at Aragon, and then she was just like kind of going on like different tangents, like as she does. Um,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't it she did not speak to me in a way that I kind of thought. Like because a lot of people have like very positive experiences seeing her. Um, and that was like it was just not was what I was expecting, and it wasn't really what I wanted. And yeah.
Yeah.
do
But
you,
yeah.
Maria,
What about
have an
you?
experience
Yeah.
like that?
Yes, I do. And maybe this is like somewhat niche, but if you guys are familiar with the musical act Tennis,
Yeah.
who actually just like now very notably is concluding their musical career together, and they're a married couple. And I can't remember her name, but she just clapped back at the individual who wrote their Pitchfork review for their final album. And it's poignant. And I can't remember who it was, but it was the person who did the Great Impersonator review that Levi, you
Oh,
had a lot to say about.
I'm
So,
familiar with him.
yeah. So, and like I'm not talking about their music at all because I do think they make great music. But I went to see them and it was at the Riviera here in Chicago, and it was partially like the fans ruined the experience for me. So it was a lot of like
Yeah.
really pretentious like millennial couples who were like, this is like I own this space because I'm the coolest person here, like kind of vibe. So it was just like a little bit egregious, and there was a lot of making out, and it was just like, oh my God,
Oh.
okay. Like, it was just too much. And then the other half of that, like the artists themselves, like kind of irked me because they had a section of the concert where they were like, okay, we're gonna stop performing music because, as you all know, we're a married couple and we have like a flourishing, successful marriage, and we're like the example of like anyone who wants to be in a relationship. So we're gonna stop playing music and have a Q&A session so you guys can ask us about how our relationship is so we can give you relationship advice because we're perfect.
Oh my God.
You're
Wow.
lying.
That literally happened, and I haven't listened to their music since the concert. It like actually got me kind of pissed. I was like, that's not why I'm here, girl. I would like listen to a podcast about you guys talking about your relationship if I was looking for relationship advice from you.
Wow.
Like
That
I
is
can
bizarre.
It was a little bit kooky. Like I can respect that you guys like obviously are soulmates and that's great, but that's not why any of us are here. I just found it a little bit strange. But I don't want to diminish what they've got going on as far as like their like concluding their musical career and like, having choice words to say at people who try to like illegitimize their music. So,
Yeah.
there's all of that. But I was just like, girl, I'm sorry, but maybe pick up the guitar again and start playing some music.
Yeah.
So that's my experience.
They're also
So
like it sucks because like half of it was obviously that like the Q&A thing, which I think is like a little like uncalled for, but I think a lot of it for the Lana experience for me was like it was at Aragon, which is like another,
You
Rivera
hate
and
Aragon.
Aragon were, uptown Chicago venues. But like it was it was Lana at the Aragon. So it was like, she's probably a little big to be playing that, especially now.
Yeah.
Um, so like the line was like through the city of Chicago, like the line to get into the venue. So like that was something that was weird. And then like waiting for her to come on because she came on, I think, a little bit later than what anyone was hoping for. And like I remember in the lead up to her coming on, like people right and left were being like taken out in stretchers and like, having too much of a fun time and like
Oh,
just like it was just like a very like anxiety inducing experience because you're like
yeah.
waiting and you're like, wait, I don't really love what's going on. And then like everyone's being taken out in stretchers and then like she's kind of like rattling off just like random shit. Um, but like that also sucks because I know so many people like love that about her. So I just don't think it's personally for me.
It's not your
Um,
tea.
it's not my
Yeah.
tea. But like sometimes you have to go to the concert to like understand when someone's not your tea.
I'm
Um,
thinking about this. I've never had this experience. Genuinely. I've never had like a unpleasant concert experience ever.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I think maybe it's because like I think both of you go to concerts more than I do. And like have like
yeah,
been to concerts more than me. I mean, I like didn't really go to a lot of concerts in college. I did not go to a lot before college. Um, I think it's because growing up where I grew up in such a small town, like concerts were like this like big event. They didn't seem attainable. Like they didn't seem like something I could just do on like a Thursday night. They were something that required a lot of planning. And so even though I live in a major city now, I think there's a part of me that kind of still has that like mindset about concerts. But yeah, I mean, I got like mad when we were at Heim because I thought the people around us were imbeciles, but it didn't affect my relationship with the music at all. But I guess but
yeah,
because I thought they were great. But do you remember that, Drew? I got so mad. I was so mad at them.
yeah. You were bothered. Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
we were
because
in
it
the
was
back of the venue,
we were in the back
so we
and they
were
were
with the
just
people who were paying
who were
like $20
who
a ticket.
yeah, who were being rude and disgusting about everything because they were just talking over every song and just
Yeah,
talking their big white millennial mouths. And I just wanted them to shut up.
yeah. That was yeah. Those concerts can be a lot too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that because like I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to connect with the musical talents of the Haim
Yeah,
sisters. But
yeah.
it never affected my relationship with the artist.
Right.
Maria, I can't get over the tennis thing. That is crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, and it's so funny because I share the exact same experience with my friend who was at the concert with me but was also with her brother and her brother's group of friends. And not only did the Q&A thing irk her, but they also had like they were like swarmed by couples who it was like PDA city around them and she was like, "Yeah, I'm never listening to their music again." So, so yeah, just crazy, but yeah. I also had the experience too at that concert, and then this will be my last thing because I definitely want to make sure we get back to Lizzie. But at that concert, my friend and I we were on the floor, which is just general admission, and there's like tape marks on the ground for where you can stand. And if you literally step outside of that tape, some security guards like, oh, you're not in the right spot. Like you have to go all the way to the back. And it's like very hostile environment. And it's like midway through the show, and this couple just like inserts themselves directly in front of my friend and I because we were on the like directly on the edge of this tape. And the girl in the couple was I mean, I'm 5'4" and she was shorter than me, so she was quite short. And her boyfriend must have been like 6'8", like
Oh
very,
my
very
God.
tall to be attempting to stand in like the middle of the floor, like in front of two short people. So they like weasel their way directly in front of us. And then she turns around at me and is kind of like smiling, laughing, like, haha, oop, sorry, like, oh, like we're here. And at this point, I was
Hate.
so mad. I was so mad
Oh,
because the millennials around me were treating this like it was like I don't know, some sort of like fraternity party. And then the Q&A thing, and then these people try and like, smash their way right in front of us. So she's like, "Tee hee, sorry, we like squeezed right in front of you." And then I have a lot of tolerance for like people being ridiculous in public, but at this point my patience was gone and I looked at her and I was like, "Well, there's no room for you to stand here." Like I just straight up clapped back at her. And then I couldn't hear what she had said, but she gave me some kind of look like, "Oh, like what did you just say to me?" Like just kind of like gave me like a scrunched up face like, "Oh, like what did you say?" And then I take my hand and gesture to the stage at her and I go, "Well, you're already standing here. Just watch the show." I was so
I get
mad.
pissed at shit like
I
that.
was
Like
so
when
mad.
the whole like, oh, like,
That's
oh, looks
so
like I got in
rude.
front of you.
Oop, ooh, sorry, you standing
I
right.
always
No.
talk back when they say that. I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah. I think if like 10 things hadn't already happened, I probably wouldn't have been so upset. But I was like, girl, there's no room for you here. Why are you attempting to do this? The concert's probably 30 minutes from being over. Who cares?
She had to be in front for that Q&A, girl.
Girl, it was so
Yeah, she had to make
ridiculous.
that height difference work.
I know. They probably stood there
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes and then they left after that. But
Yeah.
it was just a ridiculous experience all around. But
Yeah.
let's get back to Lizzie because I
Yeah.
think now we're probably gonna do our least favorite
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah. Um, okay, yeah, let's do the me's first, and then we'll do the top threes, the Holy Trinities. Uh, Maria went first, right? Yeah, Maria went
Yeah.
Yeah.
first.
Cool. So I'm gonna do my me hee hee hoo hoo hoo, which is my least favorite track on the album. And I don't know. I kind of had a hard time with the me. My Holy Trinity was pretty easy, but I think this was the one for me that sounded the least unique to her. Like it was maybe the one song that sounded like anyone could have done it or anyone could have written it potentially. So I think this entire thing for me felt very like singular to her. Like I know I compared the sound of it to some other artists, but I think holistically it sounds very organic to her. Like, maybe like, you couldn't just hand this project to somebody else and like have them write it to the same level of effectiveness. So all that to say, I think the song that worked the least for me, plus the song that sounded the most maybe cookie cutter-ish, was All Falls Down. So
T.
that's my me. But again, like I just want to emphasize that I had the hardest time picking my least favorite track. Like there wasn't one single song that really stuck out to me as like bad boo boo. So
Right, all right.
that's my me.
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel
Leah.
very similarly to Maria. I had a hard time picking my me as well. And I'm gonna go, I'm picking it because of my experience listening to it. I don't know if it's as much to do with the song's quality, but both times I listened to the record, Come Down Soon to me, I just don't like that as a second track because I love Elevator. I think that's a great opener, and I feel such energy coming off of it. And then I just feel like, ooh, all that energy's gone. And it takes a while for me to like get a little bit of a pulse back. So I'm gonna pick that. I'm sure it's lovely, you know, good girl, great little song ditty, but she just kind of ruins the vibe a bit for me.
What is there a song that you would have put second from the list?
Um, Not that one. I don't know. Maybe one that was a little bit more alive. Like, I don't know, maybe Movie Star or like, I don't know. I didn't think that hard about it, to be
Oh,
honest with
okay.
you.
Okay, cool.
Drew.
Okay, my me. Um, kind of on the same vein as like what you guys were saying, like just the one that like didn't speak to me as much. I feel like this song to me feels the least authentic to her. Um, and I don't really see her like exploring this sound a lot in future albums. Um, and it's You Forced Me To. Like I just don't really think the melody of it
Mm,
is like something that I see her like doing in the future. It's just not personally my favorite. Um, so yeah, that's my me. Maria's laughing, so it's probably in her top three.
So both of your guys' me's are in my top three.
Right, right,
right.
right.
Right. No, for
So let's
sure.
share it. Let's share it.
For
Yes.
sure.
So my number three is You Forced Me to.
She sounds lovely in it. I just don't see myself. I don't see her going to that sound again. It kind of has like
Sure.
a could you explain like what vibe do you get from it? Like I get kind of like a country vibe from that song.
I don't
Is
know if I
that
get a country vibe, but like I just like how it's just one of those songs that like sonically feels a little bit darker than the
yeah,
rest.
for
You
sure.
kind of
Um,
connected to that. You connected to, I mean, I love the word that you described, sinister. Like, I feel like that's
yeah.
the part of
Yeah.
the album that you really connected to, and like the minor chord of it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's just what I kind of latched on to the most, like I thought was the most interesting to listen to. Um, but yeah, like that's why I liked this one so much. Like it was like a very clear standout for me, especially with this one being like midway through the album. But yeah, I just found it, yeah, to be just like one of the more interesting sounds for me. But it's interesting, like with me not having like the full discography under my belt and like knowing what kind of sounds she like typically plays with. Like knowing that this like maybe is something of an outlier for her is also interesting, but yeah. And I would also kind of equate like the more sinister-ish kind of sounding songs to like being a little bit more cinematic. So yeah, I just thought that kind of like lushness to those songs like really were interesting to me. And then with that, my number two is Force of Nature. This one I was just like very entranced by once it hit, which is like the third to last song, or it's the second to last song on like the deluxe edition. But like the bridge at the end with like
Yeah.
nothing else well, actually, what does she
Hmm.
say? Nothing
None of
really
it
matters.
None
matters.
of it
None of it matters.
matters.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That I was just like, whoa, this is so good. So yeah, that one was my second favorite, and then my first favorite was Come Down Soon.
I also love Come Down Soon.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one felt very um kind of like coastal, beachy, driving in the summertime kind of vibe, even though the lyrics are a little bit more like, this good thing isn't gonna last. Like it's very, it's like not happy lyrically, but it has a little bit more of a carefree vibe sonically, which is interesting. Because she does kind of like explore that anxiety and the lyrics don't have the same loftiness as the actual instrumentals do. So it's kind of one of those songs that like juxtaposes itself in a way, which I found interesting. But this sonically was just like, oh, like this hit like the second song, and I definitely would agree with Levi with like it being an outlier, but that didn't like, I guess, like tarnish the experience for me. And nothing else sounds like it on the album, so it's like a little bit interesting. But I
Mm.
was just like, oh, it's so good. So I
Well,
love
to me, it's cool. I think the elevator is also an outlier on the album. Like it feels very much like she created the song to be an intro.
Hmm.
And then it's
Yeah.
kind of like the come down soon does feel like the come down
From
to
that
kind of
like
what the
big
rest of the
moment.
album is going to be.
Yeah.
I also just love the end of the elevator into the like it flows so good to her saying the first line. The I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like he. I don't remember what it is, but I love the connection of that those two have there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That is so
Nice.
funny.
cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. That me and Drew picking Maria's favorite songs.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
okay.
I'm ready for your Holy Trinity.
Yeah. So this was also kind of hard. I knew what my number one was gonna be, but then like the two and the three were a little tougher for me. So my three is soccer practice. This one also kind of had a little bit of that darkness to me that Maria was talking about. I loved the melody of like the kind of refrain I thought was really, really beautiful and striking. And I don't know, it just kind of it filled me with this like nostalgic dread. That's like the feeling I would describe it, which I thought was really like arresting. Um, so that's my three. My number two is also Force of Nature. I thought Force of Nature was very striking. I loved this like kind of like the imagery that she was playing with. Like I love Force of Nature, Big Fish on a Line. One of my favorite moments in the entire album is like the combination of lyrics and melody of that first pre-chorus that I know I had a hand in the falling of the sword, the crashing of the car. I was ascending to that. Today on
That
the
is Levi
bus,
bait.
it was so good. Well, and let me tell you. So I was Titanicing it today on the bus. So I was on the 135. I have never been on a bus so full in my entire life that where I was standing was literally right at the front on the windshield next to the driver. And I was like holding the handrail and literally like doing
Yes.
like, have you ever done that before?
I do it like probably 90% of the
Well, because
time.
you take the
Like,
135, right?
yeah.
That bus is crazy.
When you're like if the door opens, like I will just fall out
I
and die.
literally, well, what I was thinking about, I was like, this driver better know what the fuck he's doing because I'm the first thing getting flowed through the window.
Well, also it's so fun because I've had probably the exact same experience of listening to Lizzie holding the handrail, trying not to die on a full 135.
Literally, but like, so
Oh,
we were going up the ramp onto LSD when that pre-chorus came on, and literally, like, I was like at the front of the bus, feeling like I was going up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm ascending. Like, this is so good. So yeah, Force of
for
Nature,
me
I just
it's
thought it was
the
great.
outro.
The outro's
The
awesome.
who are you? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's something I have to say about this album. There's a lot of great extended outros that are really
Yes.
terrific. That's like something she really likes to do, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then my number one was so easy. I think this song is really incredible. I would say it's my favorite Lizzie song. It's Pushing It Down and Praying. I
Yeah,
think that song is like a kind of a remarkable feat of songwriting. And I will say, I think it's like the exact same plot as Guilty as Sin. It's literally about the exact same thing. But I love the structure of it, and there's this grittiness to it that I think is like, I don't know, really tangible and kind of unlike anything else on the record. I love how messy it is. There's parts of it that kind of remind me of Mitski. Like I feel like Mitski would write a song like this, which
totally.
Drew knows. I don't know if Maria knows this, but Drew knows that's a huge compliment for me. I'm a big
Oh,
Mitski.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
big Mitski girl. So yeah, that's easily my number one.
That song gives me Major Phoebe
I get that too.
in how she vocalizes it. A lot of this
Yeah.
album gives me a lot of Phoebe
Well, yeah,
vocals.
because it's like what I was saying. They both do that thing with like the double tracking.
Yeah.
And I think
The
the
way
way
that
that she
her voice
pronounces,
sits, yeah.
yes, agreed, agreed, agreed.
It also like it is kind of like her doing like Stranger in the Alps a little bit. Like it is like this album for her is like very much her trying to do that kind of vibe.
It's 1000% that.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Okay. So my number three is older. I kind of talked about
Hmm.
it prior. I love that song and I love how much it's grown on me. Um, yeah. And then my number two is also Force of Nature.
Oh my God!
Gag.
Gag it. Um,
Gag it!
and then my number one, and it's been my number one since I've listened to the album. It's Movie Star.
You love movie star.
Yes.
The way that she like emotes through her vocals in that is like something I've never heard before. Also just like the concept of it, it's not something that you would probably think like when you saw the track name Movie Star, but it's like about how like I don't know, just the concept of it is just really striking. Because you would think it would be like about her like I don't know. It just was not what I thought. And maybe to you guys, it would be like, maybe to everyone else, it probably would be like what the track title movie star would be. But I was not expecting her to be like, I I feel like I'm a movie star and like that's the only reason that you like me. But it's like I know that I'm toxic, you know?
It's
I'm
getting
kind of
old.
surprised Spring into Summer's not on your top three.
It was very close. I mean, pushing it down and praying was like a very close number four.
And then it was like
Love
spring to
spring into
summer, maybe.
summer.
Yeah, because I know you talk like I was
But
surprised I haven't.
I love Vortex so much too.
You do.
I love when she
Yes.
starts getting all like pissy. Love.
When she starts
So
getting
it's
all
really
pissy.
hard. I also love Broken Glass. Like I know we're just like shutting out songs, but like Broken Glass on the table.
Oh,
Oh,
you should have actually done it.
Drew
Commit to
just
that bit.
pretended to shatter the glass he was drinking out of.
Well,
Well, should
yeah.
we get into this? Should we get into the
Oh yeah.
scoring
We gotta
gig?
rate them. Yeah.
Yours. Well, Drew Fork, let's go first.
Okay. I really like this and it's grown on me so much. I'm giving it a 9.5.
T.
Gag it.
Gag it. Well, as I said, enjoyed this thoroughly. Again, I'm not sure how much like the entire project's going to stay with me throughout. I would like to again like listen to this more, just like experience the whole thing again, but I'm not sure if it's gonna like stay in rotation for me like majorly. But I did really enjoy it. And yeah, found it really interesting to listen to. So I'm gonna give it a 7.8.
You
Major
know,
T.
I think this all makes sense because I think I'm on a similar wavelength to Maria, but just like a little bit more reserved in praise. I just think that you maybe connected with it a bit more than I did. I think I had a few more reservations, so I'm gonna give it a solid 7. I think that's really fair. Because I think there are some like really worthwhile moments on this record that you should definitely check out. Overall, though, I just don't know how much it strikes me as a body of work, but also like I'm not, ruling out the possibility of maybe I'll have a moment like Drew had with it, where it'll hit me in, a few months and I'll be like, whoa, like this is actually something really beautiful. But, and I'm not saying it's not beautiful, but in this moment right now, I think I'm going to give her her sevens. So the average
In this
score,
moment, it's not the new Miley Cyrus album. It's not something beautiful.
Oh,
it's not something, what is happening there, by the way?
She just wants to tell you something beautiful.
I'm not really sure what's happening, and I live for Miley, but I'm a bit confused on what we're doing.
I'm still in the endless summer vacation.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the past, I still got a plastic heart, which I know you both are fucking haters and disgusting haters about.
so
I
that's
know.
not true.
Drew told me that you hate it.
I don't hate the whole thing.
What do you hate?
That's actually not the
Most
truth,
of it.
Ellen.
Did you say most of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, you definitely hate it more than I do.
Yeah,
I would, yes. Yeah, that's
oh,
Yes.
so then
yes.
why? So then
But
what did you fuck me
I'm
for?
not like disgusting, awful that the whole thing's garbage. Like
Well, were those
What if
words
the
bars
album
that came
was
out of my
just the
mouth?
cover?
there's some nuance. I'm just trying to introduce nuance to the conversation. I'm not a full-on hater.
And I appreciate that.
You just hate every song and then except for like two that you like just despise.
No, there's at least one song that I love.
I swear to God, if it's the Dua Lipa song, I'm ending it all right now.
I like that song, but there's one that I love.
Give
What
me
is
what I
it?
want.
Is it Give Me What I Want? Yeah, I
Yes.
mean that song is the Give Me What I Serve. Like it's Give Me What
I
I
It's
like a
Have.
lot of the songs. I just hate everything about the imagery of the album. It like is a huge detractor for me ever to listen to it ever again.
Oh my God. I like that's an album I would love to do, but I think that I would like die if you guys gave it like horrible scores. Because I love that album. I think that album's amazing.
I don't think I would love to talk about it on an episode. I don't think I would give it like a horrible score that would make you like block me or anything, but
Yeah, I don't think I would either. The
That's true.
cover though, minus 500.
If I could survive Drew giving Ray of Light a 7.2, I think we can survive anything.
I think I'm gonna give it a pretty good score. The cover though does put it in the negatives.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying that this is the
I'm
cover of the
kidding.
century. I'm
No,
not giving it
yeah, I
best
know.
recording package at the Grammys.
Yeah. No,
But
I'm
like,
just being silly.
oh, Angels Like You,
Oh, I
Angels
remember
Like
that one.
You. It's so good. I love when she gets in the
Yes.
lesbian bag. I love it.
Oh,
Well, Drew, thank you so much for making us older
yeah,
and
I'm
wiser.
feeling older. Yep.
And Maria, what are we doing next week?
Yes. So next week we will be talking about Beyonce's album of the year, winner, Grammy recipient, award, winning album,
Oh my God.
Cowboy Carter. So we're going to be talking
Woo!
about that, act two of her three-act trilogy. I'm really excited to talk about it, knowing that it's not like any of our like number one Beyonce moments. But I feel like there's like a lot of rich history with it, not only just like culturally, but also just like kind of adds a lot more depth to like her as an individual and as an artist. So I think it'll be really interesting to talk about together. And the Cowboy Carter tour just started, so I feel like that's also, you know, introducing like another kind of relevant piece of the conversation. So yeah, really interested to revisit the whole thing since it is like quite an experience with a whole lot of interludes and spoken word moments and all that sort of stuff. So I think it'll be really interesting to talk about. There are certain songs from it that like were just like huge, huge, huge major moments for me. So yeah, really excited to talk about it together. So that's what we'll be doing next week. So yeah, yay.
Well, gag it.
Gag it.
Okay. Maria, do you want to do the first one?
Yeah.
Um, well, okay. I don't know. Someone just go first. I didn't prepare one.
I guess you forced me to.
Oh, that was so good.
Girl.
Well,
Girl,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
come down
sit down and
soon.
pray.
Well, I guess it's time to end the episode.
Oh,
Oh, reusing.
Wait,
what? Reusing?
Didn't I say I guess you forced me to?
you can't take two, girl.
Another
You
one.
you are greedy as hell with these, Drew.
You
Uh,
are.
do another one.
No, I don't. You can't put me on the spot. I'm done being punny. I'm done with the puns. So,
Shanti.
Shanti, and tune in next week and like and subscribe on the YouTube and follow us on Instagram because we're almost to 100 followers. So, gag it.
Gag it!
Bye.